Hello, friends. Won't you be my neighbor? I feel like taking off my shoes right now and just relaxing a little bit. So, hey, welcome to all of our guests and visitors today. So, for those of you who are used to watching these videos, we have kind of a weekly chat that we put out. This video is intended usually just for our members who are at the um, I was going to say like the Reckless and Abandoned Club, like something really cool like that. Although just to think that's cool is probably stupid. But we have two different tiers for our memberships. You've got the questionable color, which is channel support, and then you have environmental damage, which is what we do here. We have some environmental damage time together, and so the format of these videos generally is me talking about the week that was and what's kind of coming up, and we get into some esoteric topics. Lots of times it's a little bit more unscripted than my normal videos are, which I know for some of you find that hard to believe. Don't worry, the engineer will still make sure that anything that I say is completely false. He will make sure that it gets corrected, redacted, deleted, all of that type of stuff. So usually I talk about the market and the coin market. So at the time of this video coming out, we've got next week the big shoe, the big Chicago ANA, and I'm super excited for it. I'm going to be set up there Thursday and Friday, table number 1000, so that's easy to remember. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to have no expectations because I have never done an ANA show. Generally, I do shows that are within driving distance, and so not that Chicago's not within driving distance of Tucson. It's just a matter of timing, right? So, but typically I do shows that are in Arizona and some into California, and this is going to be a new experience for me because I'm just not used to it. I hope to see a bunch of you guys there. Should be a good time, and I'm just going to bring some stuff and set up and have some fun. And I think most of you guys, if you're wondering about the NA, go in with a game plan, right? Like do the opposite of what I'm doing. I'm telling you guys to have a game plan, and I'm going in like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I don't know exactly what to expect, but have a game plan for yourself. If you're going to the show, make sure you've got your exact want lists in place, and make sure that you're ready to buy things that you know that you want. Don't talk yourself into buying something that you don't need or is not on your list. Make sure your list is up to date so you don't duplicate things, and get a good eye for things that you're thinking about upgrading. And this is something that a lot of times collectors miss out on because you'll have your list of things to upgrade, but maybe you don't have a picture or an image, or you don't know exactly what it looks like. So I think sometimes it's helpful to actually have a photo on your phone, because most of you have a smartphone. So it doesn't hurt to have photos of things that you think or that you know you want to upgrade, right? So your list should include coins, of course, that you need and kind of the price range, and also coins that you want to upgrade and what they look like. So hope to see you in Chicago. I'm going to talk a little bit more about collector coins here in a minute, but first, the other big thing to talk about is, for me personally, if you guys are watching this, hopefully you just listened to or watched the live stream of my radio show, the Coin Geek radio show, which is something that we're trying out, and hopefully it's successful. I'm really looking forward to it. I am nervous. Of course, this is a time trick because at the time of this recording, it's before that show goes on. I've had a lot on my mind between the Chicago show and the new radio show coming out. You know, these are things that are not normal for my work environment and what I've been doing. So it's definitely something that's when you do something new, it can kind of notch you a little bit, or it can wear you down when maybe you don't need it to. So, I mean, a lot of you probably have that occurrence with anything that's new, right? Anything that's new in life. So, hopefully that went well, and hopefully you're enjoying some time here on. Anyway, I've been up since 2:30 this morning, and that's the kind of thing it's been on my mind, right? You get things on your mind and you can't get rid of it. And generally I sleep well, but this last week or so, and this isn't good because I got a show I got to be able to do, right? I got to be able to function on the radio. I got to be able to function in person. I don't have to be able to function to make videos. That's the great part, right? I can just sit down with you guys and talk about what's going on. So the other thing about the coin market that I was noticing, of course, is that you've had some some pretty rare coins trade places recently, and I saw that the 1933 gold double eagle St. Gaudens PCGS is showing off that they have it. I don't know the alliances and unholy alliances between all of the different companies. Great collections versus Heritage and PCGS versus NGC. If there's any party affiliation between them, I think Great Collections really prefers using PCGS. Heritage, I think if you give them coins that are raw, that are worth certifying, I think they send them all to NGC. I think you'd have to request they send them to PCGS. And that's one of the things that I hadn't really considered until recently, and I saw with the 33 getting traded over to PCGS. I was thinking about this. I'm like, every time I've sent better raw stuff to Heritage to get auctioned off, the coins have gone to NGC and the paper money's gone to PMG. So I think that they just decided this is who we deal with and this is what we're going to do. And I think Great Collections may have gone West Coast, and maybe it's all proximity, maybe it's not. So food for thought. Food for thought. One of these days, if I ever become an investigative reporter, I can actually dive into this, like who knows who, and then I can put the chart up on the background with the dots and the newspaper clippings of like, this guy knew that guy, this guy knew Abe Lincoln over here, this guy went to old Pueblo Coin, that's James Polk. My goodness, James Polk. All right, so this is where I have the engineer edit out like the long pause and just bring it back down to center. All right, enough of that. So now we're going to move on to something else that caught my eye or caught my ear or my attention from a couple comments on videos this last week, which were people commenting about, they collect the presidential dollar series or the new actually innovation dollars, I should say. And they were saying, well, instead of buying a Happy Meal, I can buy this. And I thought that was really a great example of just understanding your own personal economics and knowing, what you can afford and not afford, because I have a lot of guys that come in the shop and they'll spend $50 a week and then they tell me they can't buy a $200 coin. And I'm like, there's this thing, if you wait for it, you can buy a more expensive coin. It's okay. But understanding your own economics, like that person who spends money weekly and doesn't understand that they can afford a more expensive coin. Whereas the person who comes in and says, if I decide I don't want to buy a $50,000 car when I can buy a $15,000 car, and then I can spend that other money on coins, right? Because that's how it works when you talk to your wife about this stuff. You're like, you know what, honey, I know you wanted the $50,000 car, but I've got this coin I've been looking at that's about 30 G's. Can we go ahead and get the $15,000 car? But I promise to wash it every week. I think that would that fly? Would that fly with you guys? Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Question of the week. I do often do a question of the week. Question of the week is actually from Michael. It says, what's the lowest graded coin you've seen with a either plus sign or a star? And I can't think of the lowest graded coin. I think generally when I've had pluses or stars, they've been on coins that are going to be 64 or up. I really had to think about this to try to find something in my mind where I was sure of, but I can't find anything in my mind that was below a 64 that I got a plus on. Now maybe I got a 63 plus on a Morgan that's a better date sometime, and I just can't think of it. But I did look back over at NGC's website a little bit to see what their pop report looks like. I just did Morgan's and I kind of scrolled through everything. And so, of course, if you didn't know, you can actually get a plus and a star on the same label, which is like geeked out holy grail for label collectors. Maybe not for coin collectors, but for label collectors it is. But on those, on the stars, on the pluses, almost all pluses or stars are in mint state coins and above. I did see some pluses on some higher end AUs. I saw almost none on anything below AU. And I thought, well, the coin grade that absolutely should have a plus sign more than any coin grade is the AU58. Because there's a lot of AU58s that are not. I've had a lot of Morgans that are. I've had Morgans, especially like flatly struck O-mints, like 86 O's, that have come back mint state 60. And other ones that look just like it that came back in AU58. In probably both those coins, even though they were graded differently and had a huge value difference, they probably both should have been a 58 plus. If there's one place that we could really increase the point scale, I think it would be that 58. Give me that 58 plus sign, right? But of course, I hate pluses because I'm like, just give me the next grade up. But there's like some rational point at which I understand that a 58 plus makes sense. A 63 plus, 64 plus, just give me the 64, give me the 65. Don't plus me out on this. But there are very few coins graded in the lower mint states with pluses or stars. Almost entirely when you get to 62 and up is where you see the pluses and stars. So thanks for the question, Michael. Also, usually I do this little segment here, things that I learned this week. So, and those are all over the place, right? So it'll be a little bit of everything. And one of the things that I learned this week that the Civil War tokens actually caused a law to be created. So the Civil War tokens, which were out in the 1860s during the Civil War, I think in large part because vendors didn't end up accepting, they'd accept them, but the guys who created the tokens, especially if they had their name on them, they might accept them in the store as something, but they oftentimes would not accept them back as payment and turn them into US currency, right? So in 1864, the US actually passed a law making it illegal to create your own currency. So, and that's something that I know a lot of people go back and forth on, my libertarian friends about, yeah, you should be able to have your own currency, gold and silver is currency. We shouldn't be able to have any fiat. There's a lot of gray area there because, loans are fiat, right? I mean, a bank loan is a creation of a currency out of nowhere without any gold or silver, right? So there's a whole lot of things going on there, but I thought it was interesting that because of the Civil War tokens, the U.S. government passed a federal law making it illegal for you or me to make our own currency. So another thing that I learned this week was that 9,973 is the last prime number before the number 10,000. And of course, I'm looking into this because I'm about to hit 10,000 subscribers unless the end of the world comes. And I'm just kind of weird in this way that I'd rather celebrate an odd number than the number 10,000. And so I'm like, what's the last prime number before 10,000? And I was really surprised at how many prime numbers there are. I thought there'd be fewer, but between 9,900 and 10,000, there's 9 of them. I'm like, oh, this is not as rare as I thought it was. And the first prime number after 10,000, by the way, is 10,007. Just because you probably needed to know that. So, if I could cap my membership, I can't talk because I've been up since 2:30. But if I could cap my subscribers at 10,000, that would be fun. I mean, limit it. I think that'd be really cool. Maybe just like, I don't have as many subscribers as some of you other like really intelligent YouTubers, but you know what? My guys are the smart ones. We got the best audience, and we got it capped at 10,000, right? Or maybe 9,973. The other thing that I learned this week is a little bit more introspective, and that is that I love the Redbook. I was going back through the Redbook, and what a great book! Like for the U.S. coin collector, thumb through that thing. And I know we get lost and like we use it. We just look up mintages on Morgan dollars or something, right? But like, especially the front section where you can read a little bit of history, and the back section when you get into the plantation tokens and Hawaii and Philippines and Civil War tokens and patterns and all that stuff. It's just really fun because it really can get you into a new hobby state of mind, a new hobby framework. And so I learned this week that I really love the Redbook, and I had a good time just kind of flipping through it the other day. And I thought, man, I don't look at the Redbook enough, and it really gave me some things to think about, which is always good when you're trying to think about things. Finally, item of the week. So usually I have whatever's like the coolest item of the week or something that came in. And oftentimes it's actually not coin related, although I do put coin related stuff, but it's been a lot of esoteric stuff. That's a word I use too many times today. But I need somebody who is really into this history to tell me more about these guys here. Baseball, anyone? So this is a baseball and a softball, and look at the threads on those things. Man, look at the size relative to just like, a finger. You see how high it comes up there? That's my split finger. That's my knuckleball, right? But imagine how much these guys moved. I think these are turn of the century, so late 1800s, early 1900s, but I'm not 100% sure. Someone who's really specializes in these can probably look at the seams and tell me exactly what time period they're from. And I think that's it was really a fun item for me because I'm not a baseball collector. Baseball's not even the sport that I really enjoy that much. But when I saw them, I was like, okay, those are cool. I've never seen them before. They're not that expensive from what I can tell. From what I can tell, a lot of these only trade for like $20 to $50. Occasionally, if you have something very specific, they can be more expensive. And I think they're filled with like pig's bladders and germs. I'm pretty sure that's what they're filled with. So you guys can correct me on that if you want to. So guys, thanks so much for watching this week. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already considered subscribing, these chats oftentimes are similar but different. All kinds of topics I talk about, and I can get off the wagon, get off the farm a little bit, and be a lot more relaxed. And I may occasionally say things that need to be censored by YouTube, just so you know. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.